communities.
And now that you talk about race, what do you think the Latinx community should do to stop racism among them and among other races?
Yeah, well, the first thing that's so important is for us to talk about racism within our community. And okay, this is about Black Lives Matter. What about Latinos? And I always say Latinos are Black. we are Afro-Latina.
I really, really feel you and understand you on this. In fact, I feel like one of the things that first started awakening and connecting me in a deep way to my indigenous heritage was connecting with the Lakota Sioux in Standing. When I was at Standing Rock, surrounded by Native people, Lakota Sioux, Cherokee, all people coming together, and I looked around, it really just clicked that this is us. Like, and the grace that they extended to say, no, you are relative.
Boy, AOC got me dying, bro. She is crazy. She is absolutely crazy. She is off her rockers, okay? I'm telling you, that's what... She is absolutely insane. Okay, she claimed that she's Black, right? She said, "Hey, I'm Black." Now she says I'm indigenous, right? So apparently, AOC is a Native American as well too, right? She's Native American, she's Latino, she's Black, she's everything, right? She is everything. And I don't know if it's just me. I just feel like AOC, as time continues to move on, she's just slowly going through like an existential crisis, right? She's just, I don't know, man. I think she's going crazy. I really think she is going nuts, okay? And proof of that, further proof of that, is this Instagram story that she put out, in which, you know, she goes after more sane Democrats, because believe it or not, there are some sane Democrats who are particularly not really on board with all the wokeness, okay? But WOKAHONTAS herself, right? I think that's an appropriate term considering how AOC is indigenous now. WOKAHONTAS ripped those Democrats because they refuse to be more woke. In fact, she specifically ripped them for refusing to call Latino people by the gender-neutral woke term Latinx. Take a look.
I also have a mini rant about this because there are some politicians, including Democratic politicians, that rail against the term Latinx. And they're like, this is so bad. This is so bad for the party, like blah, blah, blah. And like, it's almost as though it has not struck some of these folks that another person's identity is not about your reelection prospects. Like, this is not about you. Second of all, if putting a little X on your campaign literature is what you think is the difference between winning or losing an election, you need to talk about healthcare more. You need to raise people's wages. You need to talk about more issues that also matter to people. That being said, why are people opting for trying to use Latine over Latinx? Well, Latinx can be convenient in written form because you just put down an X and people can kind of mentally put in whatever vowel they identify with. But it's kind of hard to say. So Latine, you avoid the masculine O, you avoid the feminine A. Latine, E, is a little more neutral, so it can be more inclusive to people. For example, saying nosotres. That being said, if you don't want to use it, no one's forcing you to. But for people who enjoy trying to figure out language and have it meet the modern age, that's kind of where it's at.
Bruh, AOC is so out of touch, man. So out of touch. There might not be a more out of touch politician than AOC, right? She is just as out of touch as she is ineffective, right, at her job of legislating, because again, AOC is one of the most least effective lawmakers in Congress, and quite honestly, that's really a good thing. But Latinos notoriously do not like being called Latinx, right? Turns out you can't take people who have a gendered language and then force them to use gender neutral terms in a language that's been gendered their whole life, right? You can't make them do that. They don't like that. So AOC coming out here and ripping Democrats who don't want to be as woke. I mean, it's like, bruh, you're the one that's out of touch, not them. Will they lose a campaign because they refer to Latino people as Latinx? Probably not. But when you're trying to appeal to people, when you're trying to get people to like you, which is a part of politics, I mean, that's a whole lot of, getting votes is just getting people to like you as a person. If you're calling people by names that they don't want to be called, right, referring to them by terms and labels that they don't want to be referred to as, it's going to be hard for you to get people to like you and to want to vote for you, right? So again, I don't understand why AOC is ripping people in her own party because they don't want to be as woke as she is, right? Not everybody lives in a district like yours, AOC, where, you have a bunch of, woke progressives that would vote for somebody like you, right? A lot of these Democrats live in swing districts where they can't really afford to be out here calling Latinos names and terms that they don't want to be called, okay? Because just 3%, literally just 3% of Latinos use Latinx, right? Even though over a quarter of Hispanics have heard of that term, they just don't use it, right? They don't want to use it, okay? They don't want to use it, right? The only people that use it are woke, young Hispanic women like AOC, right? They're the only people that use this. But again, this is kind of similar to what they did with defund the police, okay? When Democrats notoriously, right after the election, they lost more seats than they were predicted to in the House to Republicans. They came out in a conference call and ripped progressives like AOC and the progressive wing of the Democrat Party for defund the police. They're like, no, we can never endorse defunding the police. Like, we literally lost elections because of defund the police. But progressives like AOC, they doubled down on, no, we still have to defund the police. We're going to defund the police. That is our position, right? And that ultimately hurt the Democrats. And that is kind of what this reminds me of, is how they just want to push the most extreme elements on their party on other people. They don't really care about how the people that in the party or even the people that they're trying to appeal to actually feel about it, right? You're trying to push such extreme things that only appeal to such a small minority of people on everybody in society, and that's just not going to work. It's not going to work, right? But again, hey, I'm not necessarily mad that AOC is so out of touch, because the more out of touch she is, that means the more irrelevant she becomes when it comes to her influence and impact on broader society as a whole, because she quite simply just is out of touch, right? She doesn't really understand the people that she's trying to appeal to. She's trying to tell moderate Democrats how to appeal to moderate voters using progressive terminology, right? That they don't want to be referred to as. It's kind of crazy. I think AOC needs to stay in her own lane, right? I think that she needs to stay in her own lane. But again, it's kind of a good thing that she's not, right? It's kind of a good thing she's not. So yeah, not woke Democrats. Yeah, just refer to Latino people as Latinx. Go ahead and do that. Or Latine, right? Go ahead and do that. Take AOC's advice. I'm pretty sure that will help you guys win more elections. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.